Hello, Odysseyers. Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Today, I have the pleasure of showing and reading and addressing an article that was sent to me that I need to address to show the damaging effects of using language as a weapon. Now, they've been using language as a weapon for ages, through propaganda, through whatever means they need to sell their story or their issue or their conflict or whatever they need you on board for. Well, this one really draws a line, and it's affecting the youth. We've been picking up on language weaponization when we started our trends in the housing market back in 2015, when we started talking about housing markets across the Commonwealth, connecting the dots. Oh, Australia is doing this, Australia is saying this, but trying to keep the middle class at ease because the price of housing just keeps going up. 10 years goes by, price of housing still keeps going up. And people need to take on 40, 50, 100-year mortgages and put down hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be able to get into the game. But what do? They manipulate language in a way where it puts people at ease in thinking that they made the best choice they ever made. And after watching the manipulation and the language and the government corruption and all the money laundering and all the BS that happened, and they did a semi-good job convincing people. Now, this article I'm going to read for you guys was sent, and it's being actually, I found out, it's being distributed through high schools for kids to share on their social media. Yes. Lenny Pooh sent me this article from the channel, and now I'm going to read it to you, and what kids have been sharing via social media and what's important to get out and what they think is important. Let's look at this language here. Very important. Okay, people, this is being sent through and circulated through Scientific American, and high schools usually get the kids to kind of reshare this, retweet this, and kind of get the word out, right? And they're using, obviously, children to push this through, right? So by continuing to subsidize fossil fuels, recovery plans could exacerbate threats from diseases like malaria, cholera, and dengue fever. So that's a word salad right there. That makes no sense. So if we actually took the time to break this down, it won't even make any sense at all. So that's the title, okay? Pandemic economic recovery could worsen climate change and health impacts. That's the subtitle, and that's the title. Sorry. So let's move into here. So people walking after worker sprays pesticides to kill mosquitoes. So pandemic recovery, this is what we want. Pandemic recovery plans that invest in or subsidize fossil fuels. I have no idea what that means. Increase the spread of infectious diseases globally by contributing to climate change. Now, you see what they're trying to do here is they want to weaponize this by getting people, obviously, that believe in global warming from the start, to actually believe that the climate has been changing, and that according to a new report found from the Lancet, a leading medical journal. So they actually take the article and they kind of, in the first paragraph, they want to verify it by saying that this is the leading medical journal saying this now. So they want to verify, and they want to kind of in case. So what they do is they put a title up there that makes no sense. And then it catches you like a clickbait title. Then you go ahead and you start reading forward, and you start realizing if you don't understand what they're trying to really tell you, then you start reading and start saying, wow, the medical journal is verifying this too. I better continue reading. And that's what they do. They weaponize it. Remember, global warming, it started with climate methane protection plan in the 1870s, 1880s, when they tried to get farmers to pay methane on their cows for the poop on the cows and whatever. Then it became the then in the early 80s, it was the Ozone Layer Protection Act in the 81 and 82. The whole ozone layer is full of holes, remember? Well, remember, because it happened. And then then in the 2000s, they started pushing global warming. Florida's going to be underwater. The ice caps are melting. And then in 2015, 16, they started, the world's not underwater yet. Actually, coastlines are receding. So what do? Climate change. Well, how can you argue the climate changes every day? So how do we argue the climate change when the climate does change? So they're wording it and using the words as a weapon. And that's damaging the younger, our youth, and my son's here at work with me today. So, and yeah, it's damaging minds and misdirecting people in enormous ways that you could never imagine. Increased infections of the dengue fever, cholera, malaria are just some of the ways, along with more severe heat waves and wildfires. The failure to act on climate change will have a catastrophic health impacts around the world. So now they're trying to tie climate change now into catastrophic illness, pandemic, cholera, all kinds of stuff. If you go down to Tent City in Los Angeles, they have cholera, where there's all these homeless people, or typhoid and all that stuff, right? So it usually happens in really bad situations of uncleanliness, and you know what I mean? So the failure to act on climate change will have a catastrophic health impacts around the world. And in the United States, of course, according to the Lancet Countdown on Health and Climate Change, which has 93 authors across 43 academic institutions in the United Nations agencies. So what do? They give you another dose of shit, and what did they do here? They back it up right here. They back it right up here by, this is now what's happening, and this is the support or the verification piece that they put in with 93 authors. But if anyone goes against it, they get deplatformed and removed and laughed at. This report is a code red for a healthy future, said co-author Anthony Costello, a professor of global health and sustainable development at the University College London. So again, they get a quote out to kind of re-verify and reconfirm that all this stuff is true. The report released last night takes particular aim at policy missteps such as coronavirus, economic recovery plans that could worsen climate health impacts. So this makes no sense at all. A fossil fuel-driven recovery, although potentially meeting narrow and near-term economic targets, could push the world irrevocably off course and ambitious of the Paris Agreement, the enormous costs of human health, the report states. So again, more bullshit here. And again, they're trying to tie it in to bigger levels of groups or group meetings. The report notes that 18% of post-pandemic economic recovery funds are expected to lead to a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. That economic recovery from COVID-19 already led to a 5% increase in greenhouse emissions in 2021. What's more, 77% of countries reviewed in a report are still subsidizing fossil fuels development, with some of those subsidies accounting for many times their own health budgets, said Marina, another person, a countdown author from the University of Cambridge. So they're getting more universities. So it just goes on and on and on to sell pandemic economic recovery could worsen climate change health impacts. What exactly are we looking at? A bunch of word salad. A bunch of garbage. It goes nowhere, makes no sense. They make up words. They continuously try to mislead the people. So this was sent to me by Lenny Poo. I look at it. Okay. Then I dove into the article a little bit, and I found out that high schools are promoting these kind of articles from the Scientific American to share this on your social media. Create this awareness. Be the good guy, as our grandfathers were terrible for freeing us, and our forefathers were terrible for giving us rights and freedoms, right? So this is where we stand right now. The weaponization of words, the misleading of the youth. My son, I say certain key words. He replies and says, bullshit. Right, Antonio?
Yep.
Bullshit. So there it is right there, guys, in a nutshell. Kind of wanted to put that out there because it's kind of important. Because what are they teaching our kids? What are they programming them for? What do they want them to assimilate into the future as. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Lots of love, respect. Thanks for sharing and being part of the channel. Get this message out. Hopefully a bigger channel could catch this article and kind of analyze it more so it could get out there further. Thanks so much. God bless.